Well, the Aaron Rodgers experiment has come to an end here with the New York Jets. We finished 8-9 on the season. We had a chance to go to the playoffs, but lost in our last 2 regular season games, so now it's time to get a new quarterback. Whether he retires or not, he will not return as our starting quarterback next season. Jordan Travis will compete with either someone I sign in for agency or a rookie that I draft, or both. Now here is the Pro Bowl roster, and I highly doubt we're going to have a ton of people on this list. We weren't really a great team all year. Brock Bowers does make it as the tight end number 3. I don't think any of our offensive linemen are going to make it. We should have one defensive tackle, and Quinnen Williams is here, but that should be just about it for the New York Jets at least. And if you didn't notice that there were any Cowboys or Chargers players on that list, credit to you, because those 2 teams are the ones playing in this Super Bowl. But before we see who wins that Super Bowl, let's go over some season stats, starting with Aaron Rodgers, who threw for a ton of yards, 4,520, 27 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Just wasn't really that effective at running our offense when we really needed him to be. Breece Hall comes out with a pretty solid season at 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns. I kind of wish we used Blake Corum a little bit more. He only ends with 218 yards and a touchdown. Taysom Hill got a couple. It looks like Michael Carter ran in for 1, and Aaron Rodgers ran in for 2. I would have never guessed that Garrett Wilson only caught 2 touchdowns this entire season, but he does have 97 catches for 1,300 yards. Curtis Samuel also over 1,000. Brock Bowers 934 yards and 10 touchdowns. He should be pretty high up on Offensive Rookie of the Year. Hopefully he wins it. Brendan Rice 724 yards and 6 touchdowns. Breece Hall caught 1, Allen Lazard got 1, CJ Uzomah got 4 in what felt like a 2-episode stretch, and then Blake Corum caught 1. CJ Mosley ends up leading the team in tackles with 135. In sacks, Quinnen Williams got 20.5 this year. Jermaine Johnson came away with 10, and he is now a superstar depth trait, which I absolutely love. CJ Mosley also led the team in interceptions with 3. Quincy Williams got 2, DJ Reader got 2, and then Byron Jones and Sauce Gardner only caught 1 apiece. Well, at least Aaron Rodgers came in second in passing yards this year, but I wish he threw anywhere near that amount of touchdowns, as Mahomes leads the league in passing yards with 4,500 and the most touchdowns with 44, only 4 interceptions, and Bryce Young and Matt Stafford and Jaden Daniels, who is now the quarterback for Tampa Bay, all threw 22 interceptions. The Chargers are absolutely running Austin Eckler into the ground this year with 338 rushing attempts. The most yards goes to Derrick Henry, and the most touchdowns goes to James Cook, who came away with 20. What about the most yards per carry for someone who actually got a decent amount of carries? Get past all these guys that had 1. Looks like Christian McCaffrey with 5.5 per carry. Justin Jefferson came away with the most receptions this season at 111. Cooper Kupp and Stephon Diggs both got 106. Most yards goes to Cooper Kupp with 1,500. And the most touchdowns is Travis Kelce, who caught 13. Bobby Wagner, who was a member of the Browns this season, led the league in tackles with 151. In sacks, Quinnen Williams led the league with 20.5. And interceptions, Fred Warner and Marcus Williams both came away with 6 on the year. By far the most field goals attempted this year was Cameron Dicker with 33, and the most makes with 29, but not the highest percentage. It looks like that one's probably going to go to Justin Tucker or Chad Ryland, who only went 7 of 7. One stat I never want to be near the top of the league in is the amount of punts that we did throughout the season, and Tommy Townsend is second in the league, so hopefully we can get that number a little bit lower next year. First up is the NFL League MVP award. That goes to Patrick Mahomes, but we do have Aaron Rodgers here finishing in 7th place. I feel like it's probably a little high for how our offense ran this year, but Coach of the Year goes to Doug Peterson, and we are not on this list at all. Now for the next part, we will take a look at the NFC awards first. Offensive Player of the Year goes to Jalen Hurts. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Micah Parsons. Offensive Rookie goes to J.J. McCarthy for the Giants. Defensive Rookie goes to, I'm not going to try to say your name, a defensive player for the Cardinals. Best quarterback goes to Jalen Hurts. Best running back goes to Christian McCaffrey. Best receiver is Cooper Kupp. Best O-line is Chris Lindstrom for the Falcons. Best D-line is Micah Parsons. Best linebacker is Kayvon Thibodeau. Best defensive back is Jair Alexander. And the best kicker is Jonah Delmas. Now jumping over to the AFC awards, Lamar Jackson wins Offensive Player of the Year. We get nobody on this list. Defensive Player of the Year does go to Quinnen Williams. We get no one else here, but at least we win that award. Offensive Rookie of the Year does go to Brock Bowers. Brendan Rice does finish 7th here. We had Blake Corum, but he really didn't play that much as you saw in the stats. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Leonard Taylor for the Texans. We get no one on this list. I don't think we had any rookies actually starting over on defense, so not really much of a shock there. Best quarterback is Patrick Mahomes. Aaron Rodgers finished 7th. Best running back is Derrick Henry. Breece Hall finishes 5th. Best wide receiver goes to Rashee Rice for the Chiefs, and we get no one on this list. That honestly does shock me a bit. I figured with Garrett Wilson having the amount of yards that he had, I thought we could at least get him in the top 10. But Max Mitchell comes in 4th for best offensive lineman, and Carter Warren comes in 8th. The winner goes to Trey Smith for Kansas City. Best defensive lineman goes to Quinnen Williams. We do get Jermaine Johnson on this list, though. He finishes at 8. Best linebacker goes to the Jaguars, Josh Allen. We get no one on that list. Best defensive back goes to Marcus Williams. And we really get no one on that list. Sauce Gardner does not make the list, granted only 1 interception. And then best kicker goes to Chad Ryland, the guy that went like 7 of 7 on the season. We do have a couple upgrade points following the awards, and 1 goes to Quinnen Williams, who gets +1 to block shedding, 2 to hit power, 1 to power move, and 2 to tackle. And then Brock Bowers actually gets a couple upgrade points. He'll get 1 to awareness, break tackle, catch in traffic, medium route, run block finesse, and run block power, and then 2 to his catching. We're going to go right back to vertical threat here. Let's see how many points he's going to get this time. Another handful. +1 to awareness, ball carrier vision, catching traffic, catching deep route, 2 to pass block, 1 to release, 1 to run block power, and 1 to short route running. The Los Angeles Chargers are now Super Bowl champions, taking down the Cowboys 35-31, led by Super Bowl MVP quarterback Justin Herbert. But now all that is taken care of, we can get into the offseason part, and the first thing we need to do is go look at retirements. And believe it or not, the only quarterback to retire on our roster is Andy Dalton, so Aaron Rodgers will still be in the league next year. That's just a little bit insane. He will not be a member of the Jets, though. Looking at the rest of the retirements, Tress Way has retired, Kevin Zeitler, Demario Davis, Cameron Jordan, Danico Autry, Greg Zuerlein, Taylor Lewan, Fletcher Cox, Adam Thielen. We already saw Andy Dalton. Mark Lewinsky, Jason Kelsey has retired, Sam Martin retired, Raheem Mostert, Teron Armstead. So the Dolphins lose 3 players here. Zach Martin has retired, Corey Linsley, Patrick Peterson, Levante David, Russell Wilson has retired, and Tyler Shatley. Everyone else does not appear to be on a team. We are now about to jump into re-signing some players. There are 26 players ready to negotiate their contracts. We should have a couple of 5th-year options to pick up, but we have $78.5 million in cap space as of right now. And the 5th-year options are not really much of a decision. Sauce Gardner, we're going to go ahead and take your 5th-year option along with Garrett Wilson. We're going to take yours as well. And I completely forgot, this is the class where they had 3 first-round picks. So we still have Jermaine Johnson, but he is now down to a star depth trait. If you remember in the last couple episodes, he got an upgrade to a superstar depth trait. He finished the year with 10 sacks. I feel like it wasn't really realistic for him to lose that. So before we start the next season, I'll probably change him back to a superstar depth trait. The first guy we're going to attempt to bring back is left guard David Edwards, just on a 1-year contract in case I can't find anyone that I really like in free agency or the draft. So how about a 1-year deal and he will be returning. There has to be a decision made with corner DJ Reed. His contract is up right now, 84 overall. He's only 5'9", but has 90 speed, 77 man, 84 zone, 86 play rec. I think we're going to let him walk into free agency for right now. Now, I'm not saying that means we won't bring him back in free agency, but I do want to see if there are any better options available. We are going to attempt to bring back CJ Mosley, though. He's 33 years old, but still an 81 overall with a star depth trait. Only wants about $8 million for a 1-year contract. Not a ton of interest, and he's going to be testing free agency. But from that, we're going to let everyone else go into free agency. Yes, there are still some young players like Tony Adams that might be able to develop into something. I just want to see what all of our options are into free agency because we're not really that good of a team. So I don't feel like bringing back a ton of these guys is really going to help us. Some of them have a bit of interest. A lot of them have no interest in coming back. The only thing I'm kind of sad about is Cameron Dicker. He has no re-sign interest, so I guess we're going to see what's available in free agency. Before we really dive into the available free agents, though, we need to move on from Aaron Rodgers. Still has 1 year left on his contract. If we get rid of him, we save $9.5 million in cap. Yes, we take a $14 million penalty, but we need to get him off the roster. Using the get offers button, we have a couple options here. One for Jacoby Myers. We really don't need a receiver because we have Garrett Wilson, Curtis Samuel, and Brendan Rice. But then we also have Tyir Tart. We kind of need a defensive tackle, so I may have to consider that one, but I really just rather get draft picks. Well, I'm looking through the entire league to see who has really bad quarterback situations. I found the Lions. They have no cap space, so they can't take Aaron Rodgers. But I think the Packers situation might be worse because they currently have no quarterback on the roster, but still negative cap space. So we'll have to see how they exactly work out of that, even though I don't think Madden actually takes into account the CPU's cap space. Now I'm going to attempt to trade with the Commanders here. Sam Howell is a 74 overall, so Aaron Rodgers would start over him, I believe. But they're one of the only teams with a low-rated quarterback that actually has cap space. Will they give us a first-round pick? There is no way in hell this will work, and yeah. So looking back at this, let's see if they will give us a second round pick for Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it's going to be really close, and never mind, they actually will take that. So we get a second round pick for a 78 overall, 41-year-old quarterback. I promise we will eventually get into the actual free agency part of this video, but now I want to take a look at our draft picks. We obviously have our own first round pick, that'll be at pick number 13. We have our own second round pick. Now we have Washington second. We have a third, a fourth, actually 2 fourths, a fifth, 2 sixes, and a 7. And I've been scouting quarterbacks all season. Right now, Hugh Elliott is the only one with a round 1 talent, but he does have one attribute that concerns me, and it is going to be the B awareness, which feels like it's going to end up being a normal depth trait. I've done this in the past where I took the quarterback that looked like he was really, really solid, but then had a B awareness and was a normal depth trait. I really don't want to do that here. But then if we come back and look at quarterback Terrence Davis, he is projected in the top 5, but round 2 to 3 in talent, but does have A awareness, B deep accuracy, A medium, A short, C throw on the run, B throw and under pressure, and his throw power is listed as good. I was really hoping that was going to be great. I believe his range was listed as good to great. I didn't even look at Hugh Elliott's throw power. It is listed as elite. Awesome. There are 2 other quarterbacks here that are listed to be drafted. Everyone else is a projected undrafted free agent. So let's start with quarterback Nick Griffin, who comes in with A short accuracy, A throw under pressure, but C medium and D deep accuracy. He does have marginal throw power. All right, take him off the draft board. What about Jared McDonald? B deep, C medium, B short, and then he will come in with elite speed and solid throw power and B awareness. So I do get a little bit concerned that he will also be a normal depth trait, but that level of speed is actually kind of intriguing. A 4.5 40. So obviously I will probably have to make that decision closer to the draft, but we still need to see what quarterbacks are available in free agency. Speaking of free agency though, it is now officially time to jump in and see who exactly is available. Nick Chubb is available. It looks like Trey Smith is available. He just won best offensive lineman. Jalen Waddle is in free agency. What about quarterbacks? We got Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Zach Wilson. Okay, not a great class here. I'm clearly not done in free agency, but Jermaine Johnson, before I forget, let's go take a look at this. Progression history, he got decreased to a star depth trait, does not really give a reason. I am going to go back in here and edit him back to a superstar depth trait. I just feel like it was kind of shit that he lost it. I feel like it doesn't make any sense here. So yeah, you're back to a superstar depth trait. Well, now that I have thrown out a decent bit of money here in the first period of free agency, let's go over the 5 contracts. Outside linebacker Boogie Basham, middle linebacker CJ Mosley, corner Rasul Douglas, wide receiver Jalen Waddle, and right guard Trey Smith. Yes, we are throwing a lot of money out here. Well, let's see if we land any of them. Are any of them going to be gone? They're actually all gone, and it looks like we landed all 5 of them. I mentioned earlier we did not need a receiver. One, Jalen Waddle at an 89 overall was probably too good for me to pass up, but Curtis Samuel, I noticed, actually has regressed quite a bit. Had I seen this, I might have taken that Jacoby Myers trade, but let's see if we can't move on from Curtis Samuel. The Broncos receiver situation does not look that great. They have Courtland Sutton and Marvin Mims, but past that, Xavier Gilroy, I hope I said your name right, is a 68 overall. Let's see if we can't get a 3rd round pick for Curtis Samuel. That might be a little bit too high. Never mind, we actually got it. I really hate being in the same division as the New England Patriots. Last year in free agency, they took Chase Young from me as I was trying to get him. Then they drafted Caleb Williams, who ended up being a superstar X Factor, by the way. But now they've signed Nick Chubb, who is also a superstar X Factor, and they've signed Javon Holland. Well, now that I've thrown around just a ton of money there in the first stage of free agency, we're just signing some backups here, like safety Tony Adams, defensive tackle Jaron Reed, and quarterback PJ Walker. But I want to show you guys what some of the contracts for these quarterbacks is looking like. I originally thought, okay, I'll bring in Zach Wilson to be my backup quarterback. Well, you can see here, Jordan Love at a 76 overall with a normal depth trait wants $33.4 million a year. Zach Wilson still wants $14.5 million a year to come be my backup quarterback? Absolutely not. But let's see if we can get any of these 3 guys to sign with us. And 1 is gone, so I imagine we landed PJ Walker. Now we're just waiting on Tony Adams and Jaron Reed. We'll go to the very next stage here, and they are gone as well. So I imagine there is Tony Adams, there is Jaron Reed, and I'll see if there's any other backups here, but most likely this is going to be our final free agent class. And one quick change, because we did sign Trey Smith, how about we take Elijah Vera Tucker and move him over to left guard, so he'll actually get some playing time here. Still a star depth trait, so obviously can still develop into a pretty solid player for us. Move him over to left guard, and now he should be the starter for us over on that side. So, I was looking at our cap space and I was like, I should be able to move on from Allen Lazard, right? He's a 74 overall, 29 years old, not really going to develop anymore. But no, I can't really move on from him. Yes, I would save $2.2 million, but is it really worth taking a $10.9 million cap hit this season? Who in the hell gave him this contract? So now that we're right before the draft, I have 3 guys that I can invite for private workouts. We've already eliminated quarterback Nick Griffin because of his throw power, and we know that Jared McDonald was the one with elite speed, so if we miss out on these 2 guys, we might be able to grab him later. There are several really good tackles that I see in this class, but the one we're going to scout is Will McGraw. He's 65% scouted. He's projected in rounds 2 to 3. We know he has A pass block power. I don't know much else about him though. And then the final player I'm going to scout is safety Quincy Haskins out of Ole Miss. He is only 5'9", but does have B tackle and B zone coverage. Before we go take a look at the final mock draft, the top free agents, we already saw Nick Chubb. We know where Trey Smith and Jalen Waddle went. Javon Holland is now a Patriot as well. So is Charvarius Ward. Amari Cooper is headed to Houston. Taylor Decker is headed to block for Aaron Rodgers. JOK is headed to Detroit. Ryan Jensen is a Panther. And then Kyle Duggar is a Giant. Where did Jared Goff go? He is now a member of the Titans. Now, as we all know, if you've played the couple Maddens that have had the mock draft feature in, the mock draft is not really a mock draft. It straight up tells you how the draft is going to fall. So let's see where these quarterbacks are going. Well, what's not great for us is that quarterbacks Terrence Davis and Hugh Elliott are projected to go at picks number 2 and 3. We do not pick until 13, so trading up would cost us quite a bit. And are there any other quarterbacks here in the first round? It does not look like it so far. No, those are the only 2 quarterbacks that are going in the first round. We may have to trade up for number 1 or decide if we want one of the other quarterbacks. With the Tampa Bay Buccaneers holding the number 1 pick, let's see what it would take to move up in this draft. That is Quinnen Williams. That is not happening. That is multiple first round picks and multiple second round picks. I don't know how comfortable I am with that one either. If either one of those quarterbacks look like they were generational level talent, I'm talking the guys that come in like a superstar or a superstar X Factor, a high 70, low 80 overall guy, I would probably be willing to make that trade. But those guys don't really look like that's what they're going to be to me. I really believe that Terrence Davis is going to be the better quarterback of these 2, but maybe not at the start. Elliott does have some really good ratings. Just the B awareness scares the hell out of me drafting him that early. So if I was able to trade up, I would probably take Terrence Davis, but he doesn't look that good enough to trade up from 13 to 1 and give up like 3 first round picks. So let's see what we know about quarterback Jared McDonald, 22 years old out of San Diego State. He's going to come in with B awareness, A break sack, A carrying, A spin move, A juke move, B deep accuracy, C medium, B short, C throw on the run, C throwing under pressure, and then he's going to have elite speed and great acceleration. Let's see what his actual player notes are. Beautiful spiral on all of his passes. Could use some improvement at recognizing pressure. That's not great. Does well to avoid sacks by throwing the ball away. Loves to run and play outside of structure. Quick and compact throwing motion. McDonald might be the quarterback we are going with. I cannot guarantee that right now. I really have no idea where to draft him exactly. I know he's not mocked to go in the first round at all, but let's see. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the number 1 overall pick are going to take, I assume, the right tackle, Abdul Carlisle out of Iowa. Let's see if the Browns are a bit cheaper to trade up with, because I know they want Terrence Davis. I am going to click the Get Offers button, and I'm probably going to be scared about whatever shows up. And that is another trade with 3 first round picks. I am just not willing to do that. I'm not going to trade up at all for Hugh Elliott because of that B awareness. I've said it multiple times. It just scares me. So with the number 2 overall pick, the Cleveland Browns are going to take quarterback Terrence Davis out of Wisconsin. And with the number 3 pick, the Rams are going to take quarterback Hugh Elliott out of Ohio State. Jumping ahead to our pick, we're going to make this trade with the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to pick up the 19th overall pick in this round, but we're also going to pick up a 4th and a 6th round pick. I really didn't see anyone I absolutely loved here with the 13th overall pick, so let's see who the Cardinals have traded up to take. They are going to take center Cesar Torres out of LSU. And I've now traded the 19th overall pick to the Chargers in exchange for a 1st and a 2nd round pick in this drive. So we fall back to the end of the 1st round and we pick up a 2nd round pick. I probably could have got more, but I sat here negotiating for a while and this is what they took. And now we are here at pick number 32 in the 1st round. So we get that 5th year option, which I think is going to be pretty important. I think this guy is going to be a really big project. I'm talking under a 70 overall. But I think having that additional 5th year to develop him on the contract would actually really help us out. If you remember back a few years ago when the Ravens took Lamar Jackson, Philadelphia had just won the Super Bowl. The Ravens wanted that 32nd pick, so they have that 5th-year option in case he needed more development because Lamar Jackson was seen as a really raw prospect. Not saying Jared McDonald is going to be the next Lamar Jackson, but I am saying that's who we're taking with our first-round pick, and McDonald with a normal dev trait. Shit. Well, if we're not going to have a great quarterback, let's at least try to give him some time. So with our 13th pick in the second round, we're going to take right tackle Will McGraw out of USC, and he will be a hidden dev trait. Now, just a couple picks later, we have pick 15 in the second round, and we're going to take defensive back Anton Lane out of Utah, and he will also come in with a hidden dev trait. As long as I can hit on the rest of these draft picks, I'll be a little less upset that the quarterback was a normal dev trait. Now, we still have these Chargers pick here at the end of the second round. We're going to use it on outside linebacker Danny Campbell out of Auburn. A, block shedding, B, pursuit, has great speed, good acceleration, A, play rec. Danny Campbell, you're a Jet and you're a normal dev trait, because of course you are. Now with our first of 2 third-round picks, we're going to take right guard Roman Sloan out of South Carolina, and he will also come in as a hidden dev trait. You know, so far that's 3 hidden dev traits in this class. Yes, it sucks the quarterback wasn't one, but maybe we can still salvage this entire class. With our second third-round pick here at pick 21, I'm looking at middle linebacker Damian Bryant out of Texas, 21 years old. We don't know a ton about him, but I do know he has A, awareness, A, play rec, B, tackle, and then has elite speed and solid acceleration. So Damian Bryant, you are a Jet and you're a normal dev trait. I should have probably expected that one. Alright, well now that we're at day 3, it's really just kind of throwing darts at the wall and hoping you hit something. So I'm looking at corner Casey Pryor out of Michigan State. He comes in with A, catching and A, press, B to D man coverage, A to C awareness. Don't really know his play rec here, but he does have good speed, and he ran a 4.37 and a 4.34. So Casey Pryor, you are a Jet with a hidden dev trait. Now just a few picks later, here still in the 4th round, we're going to take defensive tackle Carlos Blakely out of Washington State, and he is going to be a normal dev trait. I've been looking at this one for a while. Free safety Jamal Ballard here, pick 23 in the 4th round out of Columbia. A, hit power, really what I'm going off there. He is a normal dev trait. With our 5th round pick, we're going to take defensive end Elton Hardesty out of Purdue, and he will come in as a normal dev trait. Not really much of a shock here late in the draft. I am yet again going to take another corner. This one is Kyron Moody out of Washington. A, man coverage, A, press, marginal speed, and solid acceleration, so he may be a bit of a project, but I think he could be pretty solid, and Moody will be a hidden dev trait. This guy is projected to go undrafted, so I probably could have waited to get him a little bit later, but since we're at pick 19 in the 6th round, Kevin Patterson, welcome to the Jets, and he is actually a hidden dev trait. With our 3rd and final 6th round pick at pick number 28, I'm looking at outside linebacker Matthew Belton. I really don't know a lot about him here, but I do know he has great speed, elite acceleration, and then everything here in the key ratings, B to D block shedding, A to C pursuit, A to C tackle, A to C zone. I am fine if all of those are C's. So let's go ahead and take Matthew Belton, and he is a normal dev trait. With our final pick in the draft here, pick 5 in the 7th round, we're going to take left guard Evan Finney out of Oregon. He has B awareness, B impact, and B pass block. Just don't ask him to run block anything, and he is also going to be a normal dev trait. Yeah, Jared McDonald is going to be a bit of a project, especially with the normal dev trait. He comes in as a 69 overall. If we look at the ratings, you can see he has some boost from our offensive coordinator. He's up to a 90 throw power, 79 deep accuracy, 77 medium, and 83 short accuracy, 71 awareness, 81 break sack, 79 throw on the run, 72 throw under pressure. Hopefully I can turn him into a solid quarterback. Looking around at the rest of the class though, I feel like I did pretty solid. A 74 overall tackle, a 75 overall corner, a 73 outside linebacker, a 72 guard, a 74 middle linebacker, a 69 overall corner, a 66 defensive tackle, a 67 free safety, a 67 left end, a 72 overall corner in the 6th round, a 65 overall defensive tackle, a 62 outside linebacker, and a 62 guard. Apparently this class did not have any highly rated people. 77 overall is really low for the best people in the class, and it's mostly just wide receivers, which is not even really anything I was looking at. Now, several of the quarterbacks got drafted, but obviously not all of them are going to be good here. Let's take a look at quarterback Hugh Elliott. Was I right about his B awareness? Yes, I was. He is a normal dev trait. Had I traded up to the number 1 or number 2 pick to get him, I would have been pretty upset. But now what about quarterback Terrence Davis, who I thought was going to be the better one, and he will be a hidden depth trait for Cleveland, so they probably have a new franchise quarterback now. Here is how the Dolphins ended up drafting. They went offensive line with their first 3 picks and actually did okay with them. I guess getting Tua injured last year really made them want to rebuild the entire offensive line. The Patriots add to their already terrifying defensive line by getting a 74 overall left end and a 76 overall right end, along with a 74 overall guard, and late in the draft they got a 70 overall corner. And then our last division opponent, the Buffalo Bills, got a 74 overall tackle, a 74 overall safety, and a 72 overall corner. But that will officially wrap up this offseason video. Did it go the exact way I wanted, especially at quarterback? Probably not. We'll see exactly how all 3 of those guys do in the preseason though.